My wife continues to throw divorce in my face over whatever I do. I simply responded okay and left. I'm now staying with my sister. My wife and I have been together for 5 years, married for 4. We'd known each other for years before. We have one child together, who is 4 years old. I am the major breadwinner in the household because she is a psalm. It was her choice not to return to work. We've been having disputes once or twice a month for the past year and a half. To be clear, I assist out with our kid by cleaning, cooking, and being involved with both of them. The first time she indicated she wanted a divorce was during an argument when my sister called and asked if she could stay with us for a while since she was experiencing relationship troubles, which is ironic. I said she could. My wife was not pleased about this. I reminded her that her friends had been with us for 5 weeks a few months earlier and had done nothing about the home. Plus, she was just there. There is no conversation. Nothing. She was a stranger to both me and my kid. My sister is nice and has a wonderful relationship with our kid, and I assumed my wife was as well. She ended up staying with us for a week, assisting us around the house, cooking, cleaning, and watching our kid when necessary. I assumed we had both forgiven each other and moved forward. Most confrontations are for minor issues and 90% are not initiated by me. I recommended therapy and counseling, but she insisted that we didn't need it. So I had it last night. She started an argument because she thought I spent too much time at work, and that she feels abandoned, and that I am not a good father. She concluded her outburst with "I want a divorce." I stepped up and informed her that the only reason I work so hard is because she can't stop using my edit. During the debate, I spent our money. Typing it out, it came out as my money by accident. We agreed to divide the money between bills, future savings, future daughter, and fun money, which is money spent on items we don't need or use. She refused to work or attend school to aid herself. I provide for my family, for my daughter. I'm always there for her key dates, functions, doctor's visits, and everything else she needs. She refused to seek treatment via therapy or counseling. I don't want this anymore, therefore I'll have my lawyer give her the documents once she's completed them. I collected my daughter's belongings and left them with my sisters. It's been 2 days, and she's still phoning and messaging to apologize. She did not mean it. She wants to seek counseling and treatment. She needs me. She misses me, etc. I do not know what to do. I am in love with her. She's a good mother. But I can't do it anymore. Internet strangers, please assist. Yes, I have a lawyer. For my family and job. I've known her since I was a teenager. Hello everyone, here is an update. Unfortunately, this is not a positive update. I wrote a few months ago about how my wife was always threatening to divorce me. That was till I did good, picked up my daughter, and departed. I wanted to rant, so I posted here, see profile for original. To clarify some of the queries I've received, I'll refer to one of my comments on my August post. I'd like to bring up a few items that appear to have been overlooked. If I had to do it all over again, I would take my daughter with me. I've encouraged her wife to get out, find a job, pursue a hobby, make new acquaintances, and do anything. I inquired about seeing someone for assistance. She would not listen to or consider what I had offered. She kept saying no, or she wasn't the problem. My daughter is my top focus. I don't argue with my wife in front of or around her. I grew raised in a horrible house. I've been in a situation when my father became upset with my mother. My mother departed and my father took it out on me. I never want that for her. I'm not sure what my wife was going to do that night. You cannot compel someone to seek assistance. They must desire it. I actually want it. If you force someone, they will go through the motions to make it appear as if they have changed. I am not blameless in this. But I can't teach my daughter to think this is acceptable conduct, or this is what partnerships should be like. When I was young, I determined that I would never be like my father. Okay, so after I posted, I had a lot to think about. I determined that I needed to make sure she understood how serious I was. We sat down, and I told her outright that I couldn't do this anymore. The fighting and threatening of divorce must end, she agreed, but stated she would not say it. I informed her that the next time it was thrown out, it would be the last. We decided to attend marital therapy. It was an eye-opener. Things were spoken, sentiments were expressed, and outside professional perspectives helped us understand one another better. After a few sessions, I believed we were improving. She began to apply herself more. She sought for a job, met some acquaintances, and developed a pastime. That was until an argument broke out since. We had arrangements for our kid that she had overlooked and couldn't cancel due to other commitments she had made with new coworkers. At what I thought the conclusion of the dispute, she whispered under her breath, "I knew marrying you was a mistake." I glanced at her, and the most vivid memory I had is that I did not know the woman standing there. She appeared different to my eyes. I wasn't sure who the woman in front of me was. I asked her to repeat herself. She stated, "I should have divorced you years ago. I went away and brought my daughter to the plans alone. just the two of us. I ended up filing a legal separation. The agreements we both signed said that while we are separated, we are still legally married and will not be connected with anybody during this time period. Finances will be divided, but bills will remain as they are now split. I would continue to pay for insurance via work. Other items in it were the continuation of treatment sessions for both individuals and couples. I would move in with my sister, and we would divide custody of our daughter 70 me, 30, her. When my daughter was born, I needed my wife to take her. I told her a week prior, and she agreed. At 7 a.m., I went to drop her off at the home and observed an unknown automobile in the driveway. My initial impression was that she must have a friend's girlfriend over. I go ring the doorbell out of respect, but it's still strange to ring your own doorbell and wait with my kid till a shirtless man about 20 opens the door and asks who I am and what I want. I asked for my wife, and he called her. And she came around the corner in a robe, her expression changing from intrigued to astonished to terrified and sorrowful. Needless to say, the legal separation will conclude in 3 months' time. I am seeking for a divorce decree. My kid is protected. She has no idea what is going on except that daddy and mother are unhappy with each other. As previously said, she is my top priority. I think I did what I never wanted to do. I told myself that I would never become this, but I suppose it might be helped. I end up like my parents. I'm not sure what a healthy relationship looks like. I just hope I can show my kid how much I love her and raise her as best I can. Thank you for your support, comments, love, and criticism. Moving on to the next story. Story 2. Is it unethical for me to insist that my sister fulfill her half of our custody agreement? So there is a lot of backstory here. My sister Lily F is 35. I had my niece Emma F9 when she was 26. She was living with my parents at the time, along with her then boyfriend, and they had both recently completed heroin addiction treatment programs. Her and her partner were unable to maintain sobriety for long, and she used during her pregnancy. When Emma was approximately 2 months old, she approached me and begged me to keep her for 2 months while she went back to treatment to become sober. I was 22 years old and living in an efficiency flat while attending law school, but my parents felt they couldn't care for a child and had recommended foster care to my sister, so I took in my niece. When my sister finished treatment, she reconnected with her boyfriend, who was still using drugs, and so started 5 years of a terrible cycle in which one of them would get clean only to be pulled back down by the other. Emma was placed under formal guardianship, but it was only meant to be temporary. Every time Lily mentioned taking her back, I agreed on the condition that they both pass a drug test, which never occurred. When Emma was about 6 years old, my sister informed me that she was once again pregnant. This was the tipping moment for her, and she gave birth to my nephew after being clean for over 8 months. It was obviously difficult for both Emma and myself to transition from her living with me to returning to her parents' home. We went to court and worked out a custody agreement, in which I still get Emma on weekends, but she spends the week with her mother and father. We went to family therapy for the first year, and then quit after we had established a rhythm. Here's the problem: my sister is pregnant again, and she and her ex-boyfriend, now husband, say they don't want Emma to accompany me on weekends since she acts like a brat when she gets home. I completely grasped the situation. I mentioned to my sister that while Emma is with me, she is the focus of attention, and transitioning from that to having to compete with her brother for her mother's limited attention in between bouts of morning sickness must be difficult. I offered to keep my nephew on weekends as well to give my sister a break, or to potentially restart family therapy so Emma could work through these changes. My sister just informed me that Emma would be taking a break from spending time with me. I gave her 2 weekends with Emma, and when she continued to ignore me, I vowed to take her to court. We have a custody arrangement in place, and I remain one of Emma's legal guardians. She claims I'm putting the past in her face and won't allow her be a true mother to Emma. I'm confused. I've raised Emma for over 6 years and cherish every time we spend together, but am I getting in the way? Emma calls me every evening to inquire what we're doing for the weekend and why I don't have time for her, so I believe my sister is also twisting it as me not wanting her to come. I only want what is best for Emma, so Reddit AITA. Edit to clarify some misconceptions. Emma is now 9, and my sister has been clean for more than 3 years. We took Emma's transition cautiously. She was with her parents every other weekend for a year. Then we divided 50/50, and now I have weekends. For those who claim I'm making it impossible for them to spend family time on weekends, I've always been accommodating, and if they informed me they had weekend plans, I'd gladly let them take Emma. This isn't about them wanting to do things with Emma, it's about them not wanting me to do anything with Emma. They send her brother to my parents' place on Saturday and Sunday to unwind. And Emma has been sent to her grandparents for the previous 2 weekends, so I don't see how it will be any different if I take her. My sister is a mom who stays at home. She doesn't work, so she has lots of time for Emma. She weighs about 300 pounds and seldom leaves her home, which always appears to have been ravaged by a storm. My parents bought my sister a house when Emma was 3 years old in the hopes that it would help her recover custody. So with my bill working in it, they are able to make ends meet. Every week I transport Emma to karate, swimming, and Girl Scouts, and I stay in continuous contact with her to ensure her well-being. My bill has relapsed twice in the last 3 years, but he was evicted from the house both times, so Emma was not forced to see anything. I don't believe Emma is being used as a babysitter, as some claim. My sister seldom leaves the home, and I make sure Emma participates in a variety of activities because I believe it is crucial for her to be out and active. Also, they supposedly gave her $20 after allowing her to watch her 3-year-old brother for 2 hours. So the remarks regarding Emma's situation at home terrified me. I contacted the therapist Emma used to see and scheduled an appointment for Friday after school. We usually schedule appointments so she can talk to her therapist alone first, and then I come in and we can discuss together. I'm going to make sure she understands I'll always make time for her and desire her. I'm also going to inquire if she's content living with her parents, or if she'd like us to spend less time there. Good luck, and thank you for your input. Relevant comments. Describe the events that occurred throughout the changeover. I'd never let them break our relationship. We were cautious to move her. They had her every other weekend for over a year before we changed her regular residence. I know I could easily reclaim custody. I'm a lawyer, and I not only know every loophole in the law, but I also know the people in the system, so I have no doubt that I could reclaim custody. But what if I believed she was in danger? I'm simply not sure if that's the appropriate step. Emma makes it apparent that she considers me a mother, but my sister is filled with guilt for not being present and is striving to be the best mother she can be. It's difficult to see the forest through the trees. We moved gradually, so they got weekends for the first year, then a 50-50 split for about a year, and now I have weekends for nearly a year. Regarding Emma's actions, she was doing great until my sister became pregnant again. She enjoyed having a younger brother and had begun calling my sister mom for the first time. I'm paying for her to attend the private school where she went preschool and kindergarten, and she was doing really well with a solid social group and instructors. She apparently started coming back from her weekends with me and refusing to listen to her parents for the first 2 to 3 days of each week, and by the time my sister thought Emma was obeying house rules, it was my weekend, and the cycle continued. And yes, my sister has openly confessed that she is envious of me, not just because of my relationship with Emma, but also because I can afford to supply Emma with many things that she cannot. She claims I pamper her, and I'll admit it, she's my girl, and I want to give her everything. From what I gather, she just does not listen when they tell her to do something, such as clean the dishes or put down the iPad. It's difficult since we don't have the same dynamic. I have her out of the house all day on weekends doing activities, and I don't let her screen time unless for just after supper. And I have a dishwasher, so she just puts her dishes away. But I've never had a problem with her listening to me. Guilt. I feel a lot of remorse when Emma calls me mom. She called me mom for the first 3 years of her life. But when my sister came to visit, Emma had a breakdown, screaming, and questioning how I could have let Emma believe I was her mother. It startled and puzzled Emma, and when my parents intervened, it was determined that Emma should name me something different. Anything else? There is no consensus bought on AITA, although the bulk of the viewpoints appear to be NTA. Hello, I've had so many people ask for an update, but the last month has been so stressful. So in brief, my sister gave birth, and now I have custody of all 3 children. I took Emma to an emergency therapy appointment, and she disclosed a lot of mental manipulation that Lily had been using. Apparently, my sister informed her that she had to beg me to take her as a newborn, that I had never wanted her, and would return her as soon as I could. To be fair to my sister, I did not want to take my niece in at first. I was in my first year of law school and lived in an efficiency flat in Flatbrook. The thought of caring for a newborn while in school, even for a few months, terrified me, and I had no clue how I would cope. I depended significantly on government aid and my parents. That wasn't to say I didn't love her or wanted to give her back. I was constantly striving to do what I believed was best for her. After the therapy session, I filed for an emergency custody order, alleging parental alienation, as well as my sister's use of marijuana, which violated her terms for custody. It is not permitted in my state, and she does not have a prescription, so I requested a drug test and a house inspection, citing the state of the residence. I said that the home was a mess. However, it has become a health danger, as well as a hoarding problem. I was given emergency custody and CPS arrived at my sister's house the following Monday. I knew this was going to happen. I stated in my last post that I felt confident in regaining custody since I was aware of her usage of marijuana. To clarify, I did not view that as an issue. She has migraines and utilizes them. However, if necessary, I was willing to use it as a weapon. This is where everything abruptly went off the rails. Some people commented on my recent post that I plainly despise my sister. I do not. I adore her, and I believe that most of her problems stem from her trusting nature and the people she associates with. However, I'll be clear, I despise my bill. When CPS came, they discovered that my bill had been cultivating not just marijuana in the basement, but also hallucinogenic mushrooms. When they drug tested both of them, they discovered not just marijuana in their systems, but also fentanyl, which was most likely mixed with whatever they were doing. They promptly removed my nephew and contacted me to take him. They were both detained on charges linked to my bill's horticulture activities, which I honestly did not witness. I knew she was miserable, but there was no evidence of her using again, despite the fact that she was pregnant and using. Words cannot explain my betrayal. I easily acclimated to life with 2 kids, but I knew she was expecting another baby shortly. So I went to see my pregnant sister in jail and made a bargain with her. She waived her parental rights to all 3 children in return for my paying her bail and providing her with a counsel, ensuring that she had the best chance of escaping jail. Unfortunately, I had to bail out my debt and pay his attorney's expenses. She gave birth a week ago, mercifully not in jail, and my second nephew appears to be in good condition, despite her drug and alcohol usage. I have full custody of Emma and both of her brothers, and I am in the process of filing for formal adoption, which is very different than guardianship, but I am confident I will be successful because both parents have signed away their rights. I know I'm doing the right thing, and the experience has taught me that I don't want to stay in limbo, waiting for her to be clean enough to take the kids back. It has also demonstrated to me that I cannot trust her. I do not want to co-parent with someone who would lie and manipulate, like she did. Emma is thriving. I have never seen her happier, and despite a few restless nights, the baby and I are doing well. I'm most concerned about my 3-year-old nephew, Ian. He's doing okay thus far, but I don't think he understands that this is permanent. We will surely participate in family therapy. I hope I've covered everything. Thank you so much to everyone who convinced me Emma was not all right. I hate to think of what would have occurred if I hadn't had you. It is quite unlikely. She had Emma in the first place because she refused to use birth control since she believed she couldn't become pregnant. When she was a teenager, she had one of her ovaries removed, and the doctor told her there was minimal possibility of becoming pregnant. Emma was born breech, so my sister had a cesarean, as did both of her other children. According to the doctor, when my newest nephew was born, there were issues, and because of substantial scarring in just one ovary, the doctor advised her that she would be unlikely to have additional children. It is not improbable that she will have another kid. But the possibilities are so slim that, with everything else I have to worry about, I'm choosing not to worry about it for now. Relevant comments, info/curiosity about law school. I completed law school about 7 years ago. I worked as an assistant right out of law school, and now work as a criminal defense attorney, occasionally handling family law issues. I'm now pursuing a business certification in international law since I was raised in Europe, and now live in the United States, and I'd like to work as an attorney for an international firm that allows me to travel. Now I'll have to consider the kids while making employment adjustments. I spent my youth traveling, and while I enjoyed the various cultures I was exposed to, I never had the opportunity to establish roots. Have your parents commented on this? My parents and I are taking a vacation from one another. When I filed for emergency custody, my parents were outraged, and we both said some things. I understand their point of view. It appeared like my sister's family had brought everything together, and my parents believed I was attempting to undermine that. I believe things changed once everything was sorted out. This is the first time they have refused to bail out my sister. They have not contacted me, and I would want to give it some time. I'm sleep deprived and stressed right now, and I don't want to say anything else that I might regret.